seats, please. And I'm going to ask that everyone in the room be seated. College security as well as the sergeant at arms ask that everyone take a seat while they're in the hall. If you're not in a seat, please take it to the hallway or the atrium. So please find a seat and park it. Once again, I'm going to ask if you're in the hall, unless you're lining up for the candidate walk and wave. If you're here and you're a precinct chair or visitor, please find a seat. Both the college and our sergeant at arms ask that if you're in this hall, please find a seat, whether it's in the visitor section or the precinct chair section. Thank you. I'd like to turn your attention for a couple moments to the screen. Apologize.
Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 notes that God will use all things, for good for those who love Him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember, it is bigger than you. bigger than me. You aren't here to make somebody else's life better, to pursue liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? Hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ is a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God.
Stand and join me in a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and then remain standing for the invocation which will be given by our SREC 8 committee man, Jim Pickle. Father, we come to you on bended knee. We know, Lord, that we are able to come into the throne room of grace because of the death of your Son. Lord, we acknowledge that you are God and we are not. You know everything that we don't. Lord, some days and some weeks, you sure give us a lot to think about. This has been one of those weeks. Lord, we confess right off the top that we are all sinners. All the sinners saved by grace. And we thank you for the blood of your Son, who washes away all sin to those who come to know him. All of them. Everyone. Every murderer, rapist, killer, everybody can be saved by your blood, Lord. And we pray now, Lord, that you would do that. You would reach through those bars. You would struggle with those people that don't know you and are actively opposed to you, Lord. You would bring them to you, receiving all of your Son. We know you can do it, Lord, and we pray that you do. We lost one of your great warriors this week, Charlie Kirk. We know that he is more alive now than he's ever been before. And he's in your arms now, Lord, and we are so thankful for that. Resurrection is the promise that all of us get to spend eternity with you. And he got to get there first. So, Lord, just calm our hearts, give us resolve, give us wisdom, give us discernment, all the things, all the tools, Lord, that you provide to us to navigate this world, which is lots of times just doesn't make any sense. And if you do, Lord, when you do, we will give you all the glory and honor. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Jim, please remain standing for the presentation of colors led by Michael Padilla, Precinct 166. I'd like to call on Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis to come and lead us in a pledge to the American flag.
Color guard, present colors. All right, everybody, I want you to join me in the pledge to the greatest nation on earth, and think about Charlie and the gusto with which he would say the pledge as well. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'd like to call on Judge Kim Lassiter, Collin County District Court, 1st District Court, to lead us in a pledge to the Texas flag.
Join me in the pledge to the greatest state and the greatest nation. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Color guard, retrieve colors. Color guard, retire.
Thank you, Michael and gentlemen. You may be seated. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum this evening? Thank you. Secretary has announced that we in fact have a quorum to conduct business here. So this executive committee meeting of the Collin County Republican Party will now proceed to commence business. Before we go to the introduction of elected officials and candidates, I ask the body for unanimous consent to amend the agenda slightly and add an SREC report by our SREC representatives after number 7 on the agenda. There's been some activity at the SREC and I failed to include a brief report from them. So without objection, I will add an item after number 7 for an SREC report. Also, I ask unanimous consent that we amend the agenda by adding a candidate committee report after number 9, the Rules Committee report. The candidate committee, after the preparing of this agenda, met and has some endorsements that they would like to share with the body with respect to the upcoming local elections in November. Because of the timeliness of the matter, I thought it best to get that taken care of today as opposed to at the October meeting. So without objection, I would like to add a candidate committee report. It's on mine. Oh, it's not on mine, but it's on y'all's. Well, we're going to have a candidate committee report as number 10. So thank you for your indulgence there. Now we'll proceed to the introduction of elected officials and candidates. If y'all want to line up here and take the microphone from Ms. Wade and introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, what your office is, and what you're running for. And while they're doing that and lining up, I'd just like to make a couple housekeeping notes. First of all, if you left material on your chairs, candidate material, campaign materials, rule material, whatever you think is important to this body, please clean it up afterwards. It is us and the Collin College people that have to clean that up afterwards. So if you have leftover material, please pick that up and take it with you. Those things cost money, so you can certainly reuse them. And if they're left here, they'll just be thrown in the trash. Also, that goes to the atrium. It's our responsibility to make sure that the material, not the tables, but the materials are all taken out of the atrium with you when you close up. Otherwise, we'll have to clean it up. So please, everyone, clean up your own messes with respect to the campaign. And hopefully that's as messy as our campaigns will be this year. It's the simple flyers left here and there. So with that, we will now have introduction of candidates and elected officials at Ms. Wade's direction.
All right, let's rock and roll. Woo, who's up?
Brandon Burton, running in the 2028 primary for House District 67 State Representative.
This way so I can get your picture.
I am Greg Willis, running for re-election as your Collin County District Attorney. Thank you so much.
Shelby Williams, running for Collin County Commissioner Precinct 4, and the very best thing we can do to honor Charlie Kirk's legacy is to emulate everything he did.
Good afternoon, Patriots. Teresa Richardson, your state rep from HD 61. I am so glad to be home. Most people in Austin are crazy. I just tell you. There's no rest for the weary. My campaign kickoff is Thursday night. This is on your seat. Come get a free hamburger. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Kim Lassiter, judge of the 401st District Court. I am not on your ballot, but vote for these great patriots who are.
I'm Susan Fletcher. I'm here to represent you on the Collin County Commissioners Court. I do want to give a big shout out to our legislative body for passing the Open City bill that was just signed last week. Thanks so much.
Walking away, walking away.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Duff. I am your judge for the probate court of Collin County.
Hello everyone, I am Ellen Kennebrew, running for re-election as Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, that is the eastern side of Collin County. Good to see everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danielle Sposito, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3.
I'm glad I'm not running right
for Collin College.
I'm looking up my, I'm the library for, I don't know, I was running for Collin County Commissioner Precinct 4. Fair enough, I'm gonna know, and that's because I spent the last 25 years running $1 billion projects. If you want professional project management instead of political stepping stones, give me a call.
Good evening, Randy Johnson. It is an honor to serve you as judge of Collin County Court Law Number 5. I am up for re-election. Go to Keep Randy Johnson, JudgeRandyJohnson.com for more information. Thank you.
There you go.
Good afternoon, evening, folks. I'm Dale Rose. I'm running for JP Precinct 4, western side of the county. I'm the only candidate with a law degree in this race. If you want someone with a law degree to be your judge, vote for me.
You could have dressed up for this occasion.
I'm back to warm up and aside from being Terry Wade's probation officer, I'm working for the most conservative warriors in Collin County and Senate District 30 on the SREC.
Hi, good evening. I'm here to represent Jeff Floriser, running for state representative, HD 89.
Good evening, I'm David Schaefer, and tonight I'm pleased to announce I am the first voice and the right choice for Mayor of Allen.
Hi y'all, I'm Jeff Brian Gallagher, and I'm looking to flip that dirty blue seat in House District 70.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Jennifer. I'm standing in for Ryan Binkley. He's running in for Congress in District 32. Let's change that blue back to red.
Hi, folks. My name is George Flint, and I am also running to replace Hale Pleasant in HB 70. I'm the only candidate that actually already beat the Democrats when I ran for judge. Thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of my good friend Michael Slaughter, who's running for Collin County Commissioner, Precinct 2. Michael wanted me to apologize on his behalf. He couldn't be here. He's speaking to constituents in his range. But remember, Michael Slaughter, Collin County Commissioner, District 2.
I'm your precinct for 126, but I'm standing here for Darrell Day for CD 32 and ready to win.
I'm your judge of the 366th District Court. Terry said I could go 6 times since I've been representing all 6 judges who are on the ballot. This time you know, no, all right, good. Hey, listen, we need your help. I know a lot of y'all don't know about judges, and so we need y'all to review these. Make sure you go to the website to learn a little bit about us. If you're in the county, you're voting for us. So thank you very much. We appreciate your vote. God bless and good night.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Green, and it is my honor and privilege to serve as your Collin County Tax Assessor Collector.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wayne Kurtz, and I'm the counsel for Precinct 2 here in Allen.
Hi, my name is Maggie Witt, and I am the SREC Committee Woman, or SD8. I'm also famous for my open house every Christmas. If I haven't given you one of these invitations, you need to get one because it's the party of the year. You don't want to miss it.
Hey, I'm Nate Sheets, and I'm running for Ag Commissioner. But before you zero out, because you think I'm not in agriculture, let me ask you, how many of you feel like the food that we eat has a direct connection to our health? That's why Ag Commissioner is important. So, vote for Nate Sheets. We're going to help farmers and ranchers be more successful, and we're going to clean up all the food we all eat. Nate Sheets for Ag Commissioner. And I've been calling
Vice Chair and Rules Committee Chair. Sadly, tonight will be my last night as the Rules Committee Chair, so I can focus on becoming your next JP and Precinct 4. Thank you.
Our last walk away will be from our state party chair and former chair of the Collin County Republican Party, Abraham George, who's going to walk, wave, and also give us an update on some goings on in the SREC with the party.
I will take about a couple of minutes. I wanted to talk specifically about one thing. You know, we came to a point in our life that we are very clear what the left want to do to us. They used to be, we could have a debate, now they just want to kill us. It is changed from let's talk about it to attack them. This is the reason why we have to close our primaries. The last state convention, you guys decided you want to have closed primaries. We worked through the legislative session with our legislators, with multiple bills, and unfortunately we could not even get a hearing at the committee level. Most of you know that. So what we had to do, the only thing we could do as a state party was to file a lawsuit against the state of Texas and the Secretary of State, which we did about 2 weeks ago. We currently have a lawsuit pending, and we think over the next few weeks we're going to have some hearing, and we think we're going to win. One thing that happened over the last few days, couple days, is the Secretary of State, Jane Nelson, have gone and hired the most expensive law firm in the entire country to fight the party, Republican Party of Texas. So we have some campaigns coming. I'm expecting all of you to join the party and join the lawsuit, help us move the narrative in the right direction, along with the lawsuit itself is going to cost about a couple of $1 million now that the state have unlimited resources, our tax dollars, using against us to keep the primaries open so these radicals can choose our nominee. So keep that in mind. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your legislators, and do everything you can to push the narrative on closing these primaries. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank you, Abraham. We'll be following that. Me, our general counsel here, SD8, SREC reps, SD30, Patrick, will be working on the issue of watching those closed primaries, the lawsuit and whatnot, and whatever support we can do as lawyers, as I am one, and a few others in the party are lawyers, but also as a party as a whole, both monetarily if necessary, but shoe leather, however we can help make those lawsuits turn out in our favor so we can close our primaries so only Republicans get to choose Republican candidates for the primaries. Now I'm going to call on Jim Pickle and Maggie Witt to give us a report on the SREC goings on.
Sir, quick question.
Yes.
Have we declared quorum?
Yes, Mr. Cameron, we did declare a quorum. Thank you. I said SD30, but I'll say it again. Patrick deserves double mention. SD30 Patrick Longhoff will also be speaking with us.
Log cabins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have had, SREC usually has 4 meetings a year on a quarter. And what we do at those meetings is we basically run the Republican Party. We set the rules, we set the procedures, we look at resolutions that come up to us from the counties, and then we implement those at the party level. That's what the SREC does. There are 62 of us. Maggie and I are from SD8, which is this group here, and SD3 is represented by Patrick Longhoff. So you've already heard from the chair of the party, Abraham, about what's going on with the closed primaries. I'm here to tell you a little bit about something else that's going on that's near and dear to everybody's heart, which is these resolutions of censure that a lot of you have been involved in crafting, promoting, and putting to the state party for our review and action. And we had 2 meetings, one in August and one in October, which were special meetings that were not regular quarterly meetings, where we went through those resolutions, literally one by one, and strike by strike, that's what I call them. The thing you say the script did wrong, I'm just calling it a strike. We literally went through all the resolutions from all the counties, strike by strike. And then we determined in executive session which reps qualified under our rules to be censured. I'm not at liberty to tell you who they are because we still have a meeting on October 11th where we're going to confirm the list. And until we do that, it would be premature to say anybody is in the crosshairs for a censure. But you guys wanted to have censures. Rule 44 was amended at the last convention. The SREC took you seriously. We have now 3 penalties we can impose on wayward representatives, senators, and other state officials. We can encourage them not to run for office. We can use 12% of the state party budget to run against them in the primary, which, by the way, we're not supposed to run against primary candidates as a party. That's a rule that allows us to do it. They get censured. And then call number 3, which is the nuclear option, which is the state party can literally not allow them to apply on the ballot to run in the Republican primary. And so that's obviously the death penalty of political penalties. And I can tell you for myself and for other members, we are going to be very, very jealous for that penalty. It's going to have to be something super egregious, just like we don't give the death penalty for parking meters, for parking violations. We're not going to give the death penalty politically unless it's warranted. And so we're going to be looking at those on October 11th. There'll be a report that comes out probably the next week after that meeting on the 11th, and you will know all of the reps that have been, we have concurred in the censure that comes from the county, and what penalties we've elected to impose, if any, on those reps. So stay tuned. After October 11th, you'll have more information.
I don't have much to add. Whatever Jim said, that's exactly what it is. The only other position that I would take is in SD 30 particularly, that's all I can represent and all I can vote for. I hear a lot of talk about denying ballot access, right? You're going to deny the ballot access. No one is denying ballot access. We're just saying if you hate the Republican Party and you work against the Republican Party, you just can't run as a Republican. That's all it is. You can run as a Democrat, you can run as a Libertarian, a Green Party, whatever you want to run, but if you constantly work against the Republican Party, tell people that precinct chairs don't matter, tell people that the SRECs doesn't matter, and you work against the chair and the party in general, work against every one of these people in here, then maybe a different party might be more suitable for you.
For those of you who like to plan ahead, that's why I'm giving you my Christmas party invitation now. And I hope all of you will come. You are all welcome. My house is decorated from stem to stern, including the front yard, the upstairs, the backyard. Everywhere has Christmas decoration. If you want to know where I store them all, every closet, don't open it because it will explode. So the message that I have for you is about convention. It's coming up in 2026. The dates are June 8 through 13, and it will be in Houston. If you think you are likely to go, start looking for hotels now that have cancellation policies, because I guarantee you, the closer we get to convention, the prices will go up and up and up. So just plan ahead.
Sorry, back in Terry's hire. In addition to convention, which is very important because that's where you select people like me and Jim and Maggie, October 11th is the next SREC meeting where we do talk about the censure in our meeting. It's in Austin and it's open to the public. If you guys want to come down and attend that meeting, it's October 11th in Austin. If you're unable to come down to Austin, it's live streamed on the Republican Party of Texas YouTube page. I would highly encourage you guys to at least watch it, or please come on down to Austin and join the party. It won't be a Christmas party like Maggie's, but it's a party nonetheless.
Thank you, Jim, Maggie, and Patrick. Before we proceed, I'm going to appoint Hayden Padgett, chairman of the National Young Republican Federation, as the temporary parliamentarian for tonight's meeting. I'd also like to note that we are removing approval of the minutes from last meeting from the agenda. Lee Breckenridge-Moore from HD 89 pointed out that there were a couple of omissions from the minutes. They were substantive, they were not produced to the body, and so for lack of sitting here and reading them, I will make those corrections and present them with the minutes next time. I will also note that later on you're going to hear from Precinct Chair Cody Weaver with respect to some restructuring, and one of the recommendations is that we streamline the minutes. So this will give me a head start on taking that recommendation to heart and streamlining the minutes. Before we move on to the next item is the chairman remarks, and I just wanted to have a few remarks today, a couple things. It's kind of a heavy week for Republicans, conservatives, and Christians in this country. But before I talk about that, I wanted to thank some people. I was out of town on family vacation for Labor Day rally, but I just want to say how amazing this group, elected officials, candidates, and a specific list of people that were listed up there on the screen, from Terry Wade to John Myers, who stepped in and emceed the event, Dave Scott, our events team coordinator, Frank DeSimone, our tech team leader, Denise McNamara, the PR team leader, Sue Reeves, Ann Mellon Campbell, Rosemary Mintel, and Judy Neal, just to name a few of the people that were basically tasked by me of pulling off a Labor Day rally that was worthy of the Collin County Republican Party and a kickoff to the campaign event. So if y'all would all give those people and everyone who contributed I would also like to note that when we included that item in the budget, it was a net loss in the budget, but we thought it was important to start on a good foot for the campaign, kickoff of the campaign season. So we were willing basically to foot most of the bill as a party, to throw a party and allow people to come without the cost of a ticket and eat food and get to meet their elected officials and see some speakers and just enjoy a day before the rough and tumble of campaign season started. But due to the candidates, elected officials, and others that stepped up, not only is it a net loss to the budget, but it appears once we received all our commitments, it'll actually end up not costing the party anything, and we might actually make a little bit of money. Thank you, everyone. The second thing I'd like to mention is I got an email from the Collin County Elections Administrator last week, and it appears that we are woefully short on election judges and alternates. When I say woefully, I mean dozens upon dozens of open spaces on election day and early voting for election judges and alternates. I'm not going to give everyone here a course in how you determine who runs elections in Collin County, but basically because we win here, because of all of you and our great elected officials that represent the county that we put in office, we run our election in Collin County at each one of our polling locations in precincts in which the governor won a majority of the vote. If we can't staff those polling locations, they will likely be staffed by someone, and believe me, they will not be Republican. So I ask everyone here, if you are looking for a way to serve the party in the immediate future, especially at a time when the party, as a party, cannot endorse in primary elections, so you are free, of course, to choose your candidates and walk for them and give money to them. We need volunteers, both from this room as well as recruits by people in this room to serve as election judges and alternate judges in Collin County for the November election. I'm not even talking about the numbers we need for March. This is just for a constitutional referendum election in November. We need help. And all of you, I know, care about election security. I know our committee. I know the chair, Jessica Hulsey. I know Debbie Lindstrom's work. I know everybody that fights for election security here wants to make sure that Republicans are in charge of elections in Collin County. So if you have a question, please email Terry, Frank Deutschman, or myself, or Rosemary Mintel, our volunteer coordinator, that you are interested in serving as a poll worker, as an election judge, or an alternate judge. This will be the first As you all know, hold your cheers for just a second. First election, this will be a trial run for hand-marked ballots in Collin County. With that comes new procedures and new training, which is why it's kind of scaring off a few of our election judges who don't want to learn things new. We'll get over that. That's a speed bump. It's not a hurdle. It's a speed bump. We'll get over that. But we do need people to come out, train, and go through this process so we can implement the very voting procedures that both Donald Trump and so many of you in this body champion, and finally have a win where we can hand mark our own ballots in Collin County. So please know that we are setting a meeting at headquarters for current and any new poll workers that want to take advantage of this offer. But you will be fed, you will be talked to about procedures and timing and whatnot, so there'll be plenty of fun. But we're going to have it next week. There will be an email go out. It's probably going to be on Wednesday the 24th. We don't know if it will be a morning or afternoon meeting, but we will have a meeting at headquarters for all current and future sign-up poll workers, volunteer poll workers, in which we're going to see where we stand, see how many we have. But this is important. That's why I'm taking extra time to talk about it, because if we can't run our elections in Collin County, all of this work would be for naught. So I thank you all for taking that seriously. And if you can't help or serve, my mom is in a Prestonwood class with a lot of people that are of advanced age, or at least they're older than I am, and they talk about politics all the time. And so I put a bug in her ear that they could volunteer to be election judges as long as they're going to be, they're Collin County voters, they're registered and whatnot, need a few minor qualifications. And so I expect to get some activity out of that. I think a lot of you know a lot of people, mothers, fathers, and relatives and friends that would qualify and have the time to serve in the day for elections. So please work on that for me. We'll keep sending out emails, we'll keep pushing. We're going to have multiple meetings. The first one will be next week. Thank you. Lastly, I just want to take a few minutes to talk about Charlie Kirk, his memory, and his legacy. First, I want to thank Ann Mellon Campbell and all those that she recruited to put together that celebration of Charlie's life, that flag wave. I saw a number of you there, and I was sort of down in the dumps. It's the weekend, the Cowboys are playing, it's hot. And I'm like, I don't usually do political stuff or work on Sundays. I usually relax and just get mad at the Cowboys losing. But talked to my wife, and we were like, Charlie's legacy in his life was a ministry. And appearing yesterday, going to that event, was more like attending a second worship service. I told some of you that it was going to a political rally. And I was blessed and energized by the number of people and the reaction we got from the people driving by, and the horns and the flags and whatnot. And it really gave me hope, just as coming here and meeting with this great group of people once a month and going to church on Sunday and worshiping gives me hope that there is a bright future for this country. And that was a wonderful event. And I'd just like to thank Ann and everybody that took the time out of their Sunday to come and do that. It meant a lot to the party and to a lot of people that knew and loved Charlie Kirk. But what strikes me about Charlie, we're talking about it, is just how much his memory is as much about his faith as his political impact. I mean, he was a powerful political force, and Donald Trump is in no small part of the White House due to Charlie's efforts. But it seems his ministry transcended politics, and so you just think about what that means for a movement when someone who is political transcends politics. You can't say that about a lot of people. He was sort of a modern-day evangelist, and America's colleges and universities were his mission field. And if you ask Charlie, as people had, whether he'd rather convert souls or win elections, there's no question that he'd choose the former. But ask yourself why. A politico like Charlie Kirk, with all the people he knew, from the president on down and his friends, why would he rather convert souls than win elections? I'll tell you why, because that's what Jesus commanded. We're told to be salt and light. And Charlie liked to say, what does salt and light do? They change their environment, whether it's by changing the flavor of food or bringing light into darkness. But what I'm also struck by is the fact, as an attorney, this hits me every day, is that it's not enough just to be correct. or to be right. We have to convince people. And it's not even enough to convince people. Charlie was not just trying to win arguments. His goal was, as ours should be, to convert people to our cause and to our faith. And that takes more than just being correct. It takes caring about our neighbors to effect that kind of change. That's why the scriptures tell us to speak truth in love. Why? What does it matter how we speak the truth as long as we speak it? And what is the object of the love of that admonition? Well, it applies to those to whom you are speaking the truth. And the reason it matters is because the purpose of speaking the truth is to convert the listener. And people are more apt to listen and believe if you care. So speaking in truth in love to our neighbors sends that very message. Now do not misunderstand. I'm not interested in uniting with those that call me, my family, my friends, members of my party, and members of this room, Nazis, fascists, racists, and other vile epithets. I'll use my time and resources to come together with my brothers and sisters in arms, and that's what I'll spend my time doing. And if there are those that are seeking to learn more about us in this party and want to be a part of our movement, I'll extend a hand and welcome them. But uniting with those on the left that continue spewing their hateful rhetoric without remorse or apology is simply not going to happen. We, as members of this party, and a lot of us, people of faith, must be careful not to alienate the people by employing the same tactics as the left. Doing so risks poisoning our mission field. Whether it be religious or political, you can't convert those if you don't care about them. You'll simply end up driving them away with unkind words. So don't just try to be correct in an effort to convince someone to win an argument. We need to truly care so that we can convert. I don't want to just be right. I want to be light. I want to effect change. That is how we convert the masses, and that is how we win elections. And I don't think Charlie would want it any other way. Thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda is Precinct Chair abandonments, resignations, and appointments. And I have that list somewhere here, and we'll share it. The first resignation, or the only resignation on tonight's list, is Stephen Callis, HD 61, Precinct 102. All in favor of accepting the resignation of Mr. Callis, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Its resignation is accepted. On tonight's appointment list, I will let the body know that all of the candidates on tonight's appointment list have met all of the requirements needed to be a precinct chair. They have also been vetted by the precinct chair recruitment and vetting committee, and each of their names have been included in a report which has been passed on to me. The reason I tell you this is I don't want there to be any thoughts, rumblings, or gossip that there is some sort of manipulation going on with how and when we appoint precinct chairs. With me as county chair, the only people that will be read from this list at an EC meeting are people that are on a report handed to me by the chairman of the committee that has met the requirements and received the requisite votes of the committee. If there is someone that someone believes should be on the list or should be off the list, I'm not the one to take it up with. It is the chair of the committee and the committee that actually passes up the report. And each one of these names have met the requirements, have been fully vetted, voted on by the committee, and the report has been passed up to me. So with that, let's recognize our precinct chair appointments for this evening. The first one is Ramil Paredes, HD 67, Precinct 171. Please come forward. The second one is Jensen John, HD 67, Precinct 242. The third one is Nicole Hunt, HD 67, Precinct 181. And the last name on our list is Steve Kennard, HD 70, Precinct 56. Kennard didn't make it tonight, so we will reserve Mr. Kennard for the next EC meeting, and we will proceed with the 3 precinct chair appointees that are before us right now. All in favor of appointing the precinct chairs that I've just named and are standing before the body at the front of the room, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Ramil Paredes is now the precinct chair for 171. Jensen John is the precinct chair for precinct 242. And Nicole Hunt is the precinct chair for 181. Now I'd like to call up Judge Tom Novak, Judge of the Collin County District Court 366, to administer the oath to our new precinct chairs.
Next time, judges are required to wear the robes.
Black vest, it's very slimming.
Except the bathroom robes, we don't need that. That's
One with the fuzzies.
none of those.
All right, do y'all know your names? Do you know what precinct you're going to be representing? All right, then we're set. Thank you, by the way, for what you do. So, we appreciate it. If you would, you don't have to raise your hands for the whole thing. But if you want to, you can raise your right hand as well. It just depends on how you do. All right? Everybody good? Hey, we're about to swear these folks in to do your job. The ones that y'all are doing, so thank y'all again for everything that y'all do as it relates to being precinct chairs here in Collin County. All right, so if you would, repeat after me. I state the name.
I, Jensen John,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of precinct chair of precinct,
of the precinct 242
all right, of Collin County, Texas,
of Collin County, Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the constitutions and laws of this state.
the constitutions and laws of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I furthermore, sorry, it's my fault. I furthermore solemnly swear that I will encourage people in my precinct to be involved by identifying voters, registering voters, informing voters, turning out voters, working polls, assisting candidates, and I will be involved in the party conventions. So help me God. Thank you. Your new precinct chair, everybody.
It broke. Woo.
You jump down, I can't jump up. Y'all may take your place as you are in the seating for the precinct chairs and are free to conduct business with the body as precinct chairs for the rest of the meeting. Let's give them one more round of applause, everybody. Next item on tonight's agenda is the appointment of committee chairs and team directors. We only have one open committee chair spot effective at the end of this meeting. So the HD chairs and myself have coordinated together on the chairman of the Rules Committee to take Mr. Pallas's place, who has resigned in the Rules Committee. And the nominee for the Rules Committee chair is Mark Myers, who is currently on the Rules Committee, was elected by the Rules Committee, and was elected vice chair of the Rules Committee by the actual Rules Committee. So he is the nominee on the floor, and so I make a motion that the body confirm Mark Myers as chair of the Rules Committee. Is there a second?
Stephanie Razor, precinct 29, I second.
Having heard a second, this is debatable. Is there any debate on the motion? Hearing none, I will call for the yeas and nays. All those in favor of Mark Myers as chair of the Rules Committee say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Myers will be installed as Rules Committee Chair. Effective at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. Mr. Myers, you can wave and say hi for those of you who don't know him. He's sitting by the other Myers. Just can't get enough. All right. So, the next item on tonight's agenda is the Rules Committee report. I'll call on Mr. Callis to give the Rules Committee report. Mr. Callis still is the chair of the Rules Committee until the end of the meeting, so Mr. Callis will be delivering the report. It should be short. There's one rules change to be discussed. Mr. Callis? I can do electronics.
Can everybody read the green writing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this was submitted the last meeting, and it was agreed upon, and we were putting it forward to you. Prior to me moving for adoption, I just want to make sure everybody's clear what they're reading on that. Any questions or any concerns? Okay. So, as the chair of the Rules Committee, I'd like to move for adoption of the language in green.
Master Side, Precinct 43, a second.
Thank you. Do we need any discussion? Seeing that there's no discussion, I will go ahead and call for a vote at this time. All in favor of adopting the language in green, substitute in what was previously there, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Very good. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Callis. And just so the body is aware, with Mr. Callis's resignation, we had an opening for chair. We also had an opening if Mr. Myers was elevated to chair, there'd be an opening on the committee. And even though this wasn't a rule yet, Terry and myself decided to go ahead and publish that to everyone, and we did get some responses. So we will continue that. Of course, now it's a rule, we will of course do it. But I think it's good practice so that people know what's open and what's not in the world of the party. And it's hard to follow everything going on. So I thought this was a welcome rule change. And I'm not a big fan of changing rules mid-year, as y'all know, mid-biennium. But this was a good rule that was just a good practice to let the body know what positions we have. And so I believe that will be a very productive rule change. The next item on tonight's agenda is the candidate committee update or report. It was an update because we didn't have a report. We do have a report now, and so I'd like to call on John Montez, chairman of the candidate committee, to give his report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the honor to present the candidate committee's report for the upcoming November 4th election. First, let me begin by thanking and acknowledging the incredible work and effort displayed by the committee on a very compressed and expedited timeline. My tenure as chairman began after the August EC meeting, and since that time we organized a total of 3 full committee meetings. We appointed Sue Silver as the committee secretary and appointed 2 subcommittees, one for the city of Josephine elections and one for the city of Princeton elections. Nancy Robertson led and chaired the Josephine subcommittee, and Paula Cheek led and chaired the Princeton subcommittee. Each of these 2 subcommittees met several times and organized on their own to properly research vet candidates that were seeking the Collin County Republican Party endorsement. We had a final meeting this Saturday to review, discuss, and vote on the subcommittee's recommendations that they presented. And I'll present a list of those here in just a moment. But I will tell you that the votes were unanimous, 14-0 for all of the recommendations. One quick note that the committee wanted to express, we would respectfully request that if these candidates are accepted and endorsed, we urge members of this body to please help and support these candidates. And, if not with some helpful donations, maybe help some of them with fundraising, block walking, poll reading, partner with the Get Out the Vote committee to get plugged in where you can help where most needed. After the elections, we always hear grumblings, complaints when people don't win. Let's also make sure we back up that after the game fervor with in the game action. So that's our call to action to everybody. All right, and now on to the recommendations. I'll start with Josephine. So there's 3 candidates. And they're all city council candidates. The first one is Pam Sardo for city council, place 4. The second recommendation is April Arand for city council, place 1. And the last one in Josephine is Jane Ridgway for place 2, Josephine City Council. And now to Princeton. So there's just 2 candidates and they're ISD candidates, so that no city council recommendation. So the first one is Julia Schmoker for ISD. And the second is John Campbell. Mr. Chair, that concludes the candidate committee's report.
Candidate committee has submitted these endorsements, the recommendations for endorsements, and has moved that the body endorse the candidates. We'll take them up by city. This is a motion in a committee report, so it does not require a second. So the motion and the second on the table is for the Collin County Republican Party to formally endorse Pam Sardo for place 4 of the Josephine City Council, April Arand for place 1 on the Josephine City Council, and Jane Ridgway for place 2 on the Josephine City Council. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the party endorsing the aforementioned candidates in the Josephine City Council race, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The Collin County Republican Party will formally endorse Pam Sardo, April Arand, and Jane Ridgway for their respective places in the Josephine City Council election. The next item from the committee is the Princeton ISD Independent School District race. And in that race, the committee has moved that the Collin County Republican Party endorse Julia Schmoker as a trustee and John Campbell as a trustee. This motion doesn't need a second, so is there any discussion on Julia Schmoker as trustee or John Campbell as trustee to get the endorsement of the CCGOP for the Princeton Independent School District upcoming nonpartisan election? Seeing no debate, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of the Collin County Republican Party formally endorsing Julia Schmoker as a trustee in her candidate for trustee in her election for the Princeton ISD, and John Campbell as trustee in his election for the Princeton ISD as trustee, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Collin County Republican Party will formally endorse Julia Schmoker and John Campbell as candidates for trustee in the election for the Princeton Independent School District. The next item on tonight's agenda is an events team update. I'd like to call Dave Scott up for a brief update on what the events team is doing and what's coming up on the schedule with respect to events that the Collin County Republican Party will be participating in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dave Scott. I'm your Chief Sergeant at Arms, Precinct 223 Captain, and most recently, Chair for the Collin County Republican Party's events team, however, more famously referred to as Angie's husband. We had an events team meeting back on July 16th at headquarters, and it was well attended. We had 12 of you there. All of you brought a lot of positive attitudes and great ideas, a lot of energy in the room. It was very enthusiastic. and thank you all for that input. I'd like to also thank Steve Kleinberg for his continued assistance with this endeavor. Steve was your previous chair, and since I took over, Steve has been a lot of help for me to lean on. He's been pretty much my right-hand man and been very, very helpful. During the meeting, we got acquainted and we discussed a lot of great ideas from the team for fundraising and many fun upcoming GOP events. My goal as the chair is to determine which event or events, plural, preferably, any of you really like to enjoy. And if it's something that you're interested in working, I'd like to place you in the lead position for said event. And if you're not interested in being a lead, at least have you on the list for a volunteer for said event. I believe that volunteering to work in any event should be a fun and rewarding experience, mostly a fun experience. Our 4 primary objectives at any event are to gain interest from the people who are there, to have them sign up for the CCRP newsletter. That's one of our huge primary concerns. To steer them to our website, to inspire them to donate, and to have them volunteer in any capacity, among many others. If we develop precinct chairs out of that endeavor, that's also another huge plus, as I'm sure everybody in this part of the room can attest to. May I ask a show of hands for anybody who has previously volunteered for a CCRP event? See there? We're like a third of the way there. We can get everybody to do that. That'd be great. Currently, we have about a total of 18 events recurring every year that we attend, and we need to branch out to even more events, get more exposure, which will require, of course, additional volunteers. So your help is greatly needed. If any of you would like to sign up for any event or events, plural again, please do so. We do have a few openings for events through the end of this year. You can either respond to the email that I sent out to all of you a few months ago, or you can reach out to the Sign Up Genius events that Steve Kleinberg has placed on the internet. Many of you have signed up there. We still have some few openings, like I said. Also, I do have a sign-up list that was available on the table outside with the church earlier this evening. If you'd like to see me after tonight's meeting, I'd be glad to place you on it. We have only like 4 spots left. Y'all have done a great job about helping us fill the numerous spots that we have for the events. We recently had 2, as the Chairman alluded to, 2 very, very successful events, the Labor Day Rally and also most recently the Wiley Rodeo. Thank you, Kimberly Armstrong, who led the Wiley Rodeo event, and all of you who gave up your time and have already worked an event or signed up to do so in the future. As well, the flag wave and support for our most recent loss was a huge turnout for Charlie Kirk, and I'm very proud of that. In relation to that and to other volunteers, I'd like to thank Jeff Hall and Rick Cromack for recently helping me get the disastrous GOP storage room squared away so it's no longer a safety hazard to enter. That came out really good. We put in a lot of hard work. And Rick, thank you. Jeff's not here with us tonight, but you guys put in a lot of hard work for that. Also, I want to thank Richie Rogers and Jim Reeves, our current Sergeant at Arms. And also, more recently than all of the above, for Ann's event that she put together, that my wife Angie assisted her with, I put together a quasi security team to make sure everybody there was safe. So it consisted of Ramil Paredes, who's a Marine, by the way, Jeff Hall, who's also a military man, Dave Schaefer, and Kyle Sims. I don't know if Kyle left, but we had a little security team. We were all plain clothes, undercover type of thing. Had correspondence with the Plano Police Department ahead of time. We wanted to make sure everybody at the event was safe, and it turned out to be a very safe event. We had a few suspicious folks we kept eyes on, but other than that, it was a smooth event. So that's all. Appreciate your time.
The next item on tonight's agenda is a report by the Temporary Committee on Party Structure. As a lot of you know, there was a temporary committee appointed by my predecessor in which a temporary committee was just kind of look 30,000-foot view, how do we run the party, how we structure committees, everything from top to bottom, for how we even do the walk and wave at the beginning of today's one pretty quickly, considering all the candidates. I'm not sure I'd revise that. But in any event, we had that committee. It met many times. I circulated their entire report along with all of the attachments and appendices to the body with the agenda, because there was a lot of work that went into this. And so before I call up the chair of that temporary committee to give the executive summary of that report, I would just like to thank all of the members of that committee, starting with Cody Weaver, who chaired the committee, and all of the members that served on that committee. If you served on that committee, could you just stand up and let the body see you and just recognize you for all the meetings you attended and the work you did? Chair appreciates everyone's work on this, and we will be reviewing this report diligently and determining what recommendations go to what committees and how we can best take this report and implement those things that the body wishes to see implemented in the future. And with that, I'd like to call up Cody Weaver, the chairman of that temporary committee, to give us his report.
Let me start also by thanking everybody that participated. It was a long process, and I want to talk about the process real quick before I briefly go through the recommendations and what we ultimately landed on to recommend to the EC. So originally it was supposed to be a very small committee, maybe 3 or 4 people. I found that the more the merrier, but I also knew at the time that we started this process, the EC was very energized and passionate. And so there was what felt like 2 sides of the EC. And so my thought process was, let me take the biggest thought leaders that I perceived to be on both sides, and I took 7 from each side, and I said, we're going to have the same meeting, each side separately. And we're going to go through all the topics, and when we're done going through the topics, we're going to bring both sides together. And what we found, and what I expected, was that there was going to be much more that we agreed on that we might not have gotten to if we just started by having 4 people in a room sharing opinions. And so we pared down the questions and the topics, and we got to a point of consensus. And the report that I'm going to review here shortly, it is the conclusion or the consensus that we reached. And it shows, it's a great microcosm of this EC that there's so much more we have in common, so much more we agree with than disagree with. And sometimes the mechanisms by which we communicate can be much more successful to get us to that final conclusion. So I'll get that to you here in a minute. We did meet 3 times for each group, and then a 7th time to do the consensus and build most of the report. We did have one topic that I will be recommending that it goes to another temporary committee for that one specific topic, because even the time we spent trying to flesh it out and talk about it, we realized how important it is and how much detail and effort might need to go into it, that it would make more sense to have a dedicated temporary committee just for that one topic. So I'll definitely point that out when we get there as well. UIT? I think, some of our members recently, they stood up on the first page. I have all of them there, but I don't think everybody's here tonight, unfortunately. But like I said, we had 14 members. It'd be easier if I could read that off the roster. Oh, they've already stood up. Yeah, Byron already did that. But I'll read their names in alphabetical order. Linda Block, Robert Canwright, Cynthia Crowell, Cindy Darling, John Donovan, Stephen Gelman, Catherine Gibb, Rohit Joy, David Leaf, Brian Long, and Melanie Campbell, Michael Padilla, Serini Ragavan, and Ivan Sifton, and then of course myself. And we've seen, aside from this committee, all of the amazing work that many of these members have done in other committees and other efforts getting people elected in this past cycle. All right, I'll quickly go through this. So much IT. No, I don't think you were worried about that. So this report was sent out to the entire EC. It is 47 pages long, but the report itself is only about 14 pages. There is something that I did that was very unique to the process. We used, and I know people have mixed feelings about this, but we used Zoom for every meeting, even when we were all meeting in person and didn't have anybody on Zoom. That way we could capture a summary of the meeting using the AI function. And so there is, all of the meeting summaries are there from each side, and they're well detailed which side, which group I'm meeting with, group 1 or group 2, and that way when you see a recommendation and you say, well, how did you guys get there? What conversation led to that? You can actually see in detail, meeting by meeting, how things evolved. And so I think if you're comfortable with AI, that may be a way to move forward in the future with future meetings to detail what all happened, without having a secretary in place if you don't have that. So overview, this report summarizes the discussions and consensus points of the 2025 CCGOP Temporary Reorganization Committee meetings with specific focus on structural, procedural, and cultural reforms within the executive committee. These recommendations are designed to enhance transparency, efficiency, inclusiveness, and bottom-up leadership. These are the members that I previously mentioned. So one of the first things that we wanted to tackle, based on what we were experiencing in the EC first, was are we a deliberative body, and is that what we do here, versus having non-deliberative engagement at a meeting. And training is very important. What we do out in the community is very important, but these meetings, the consensus was that we are a deliberative body, and the purpose of these meetings is to deliberate and exercise that function. And so it was a consensus that training and presentations that are not necessarily appropriate for a deliberative body happen other times. The second was based on the flexible agenda versus fixed agenda. And what we found was that there was a consensus that members of the committee wanted something more fixed, something that was, you still need to give the chair flexibility as he exercised tonight, which was a great example, but that the agenda should be something that it is very fixed and not something that we're changing very often, and something that you can expect things. We want to have expectations set clearly, and rule changes and amendments must be submitted in advance, red line versions included for transparency. That's one thing that, we see it here in the meeting. We'll have the red lines. In the past, we hadn't seen the red lines. So there's going to be a few recommendations that I'm going to read through, or that I've already read through, that you might be saying, well, hey, Cody, we're doing that now. And absolutely, we've seen some great improvements over the last few months. These are things that at the time that we were talking, that we were seeing happen in the EC. And so these recommendations encompass that time period. We started in March, I believe. And so when you go back to March and on, that that's the time frame that we were working and having these conversations. So I think that's important to note. Strong adherence to Robert's rules. We came to the conclusion very quickly that the consensus was to have strong adherence to Robert's rules. And that's kind of an easy one, seeing how the Republican Party platform requires it. And so, but it was a topic of the time, and so it's a topic that we addressed. Number 4, standardized versus variable meeting elements. This is likely going to be one that has some level of disagreement with EC at large, but the consensus of this group was that meeting elements should be standardized. Ceremonial elements such as the pledge, invocation, candidate and official introductions. Now, standardized could mean that we're happy with what we're doing right now, and standardized could also mean, you know, we change it to something that's more standardized. So it's, all of these recommendations are something that the EC is going to have to discuss and consider, and that members of the EC and more than likely members of the committee will introduce motions at future meetings and reach out to their HD chairs to have things added to, motions added to meetings to address these issues. Number 5, resolution process reform. This one was a very big conversation, very passionate conversation. The ultimate consensus was that resolutions should include a specific call to action and focus on party goals rather than grievances. The Rules Committee's role is procedural, ensuring formatting and style, not content judgment. Now that was a very big topic of discussion, the role of the Rules Committee when reviewing the resolution process. And so it's my understanding and the understanding and consensus of the group that formatting and style is very important. We want to make sure that when a resolution comes out, it reads well and that it's properly done. But when we submit it, we're not looking for somebody to change the intent or pass judgment on it. We're wanting it to go through the Rules Committee so it passes formatting and then comes to the EC with its original intent intact to be voted up or down or amended. Number 6, top-down versus bottom-up EC structure. The consensus was to reaffirm the EC as a bottom-up precinct chair-driven body. Obviously, we have a leader. And that leader is part of the EC, and that's an important part to factor in, that our chairman is a member of the EC. But this is just as he requested for people to sign up to be judges in these next elections. We are the ones that are on the ground, and we're the ones that make up the voting deliberative body to make all of these things happen. Precinct chair recruitment, training, accountability, and HD chair responsibilities. Rather than going over this, you can look at this later on. I will say this is one that we recommend goes to another temporary committee to flesh out. I think a lot of people have a lot of great ideas. One thing in particular that we focused on is the use of Argenta more effectively and ensuring leads are followed up on promptly. And there was a lot of passion about that one. And yeah, so that one is definitely getting recommended to another temporary committee if the EC so wishes. And then nominations, chair appointment versus floor appointment. The ultimate consensus was that the EC already has the veto power. So changing this from taking away the chair's ability to appoint and making it only for nominations did not necessarily make any sense, because the veto power still rests with the body. So we didn't see much reason to make any changes there, but that was a hot topic of discussion. Additional recommendations, we had discussions about meeting decorum and conduct. That doesn't appear to be an issue anymore, but is a topic that we may want to still address and have a temporary committee review, because there's good times and there's bad times, and we want to be prepared for both. So I think it's important to have that. We talked about Rule 63. We talked about voting tools. Our former technology chair, David Leaf, was very on top of things on that. I think the idea of clickers and for speed and transparency, again, that may be something that we find in the future that we need. Right now, it seems like that's not something our EC is primed for. And then, so conclusion, these are proposals. This is the result of hours and hours of discussion, passionate discussion by many members of our EC, and this is the consensus that we came up with. I'll say, things look great, but but there's always room for improvement, and I think continuing the conversation and trying to constantly evolve and move forward and address issues before they happen is a great thing to do. And I'll just show you real quick. These are all the emails, and it's got a quick recap, next steps, summary, and goes through everything. So if you've got no other reading and nothing fun to do on a Friday night, it could be some excellent reading and get your summaries on. That's all I've got, and happy to stick around after the meeting if anybody has any questions, but I think I'll turn it back over to our chairman.
Once again, just thank you to that committee and all the work they put in. I attended, after I became chair, I attended a meeting of the temporary committee, kind of tried to be sly about it and see what they were saying about the chair. And I was just hoping, like, if you're gonna diminish the power of the chair, could you at least think about something like allowing me to hang out over here, over there, like all right, meeting instead of up here. But unfortunately, that didn't come out of the report. So thank you, Cody. I can just tell you that it was spirited, it was all in good faith. What I heard was tremendous amount of thoughtful discussion and work and reporting through AI and other ways, and so I'm excited about some of them, not as excited about others, but you know what, that's what this body's for, that's what we're all here for, to do a debate. Just so you know, my plans on this report, it is to give you all a chance to digest it, see which one of these potential proposals merit, already have a jurisdictional committee, meaning we have a committee that deals with these changes and probably refer it to those, ask the body if they would like to refer any specific changes to the committee that has jurisdiction. And if there are some of these proposals that there is not a committee that you can just read the rules and read their jurisdiction, it doesn't look like it fits, then we can create a temporary committee with the body's affirmation to address whatever doesn't fit within the lines of a committee that already exists, with a goal towards hopefully having working proposals for organizational rules next year in June so that we can basically make these changes for the next biennium. Some will be small and cosmetic, some may be a little bit more structural. It takes some getting used to, but we'll see how the body feels about that when we're all here together meeting to set up our rules for the next biennium. I expect many of these proposals to make it through the process and be on the agenda to be voted on. So thanks again to the committee, and we'll move forward with the process as I have outlined. Thank you.
Sir,
for what reason would you like to?
One recommendation,
Make sure it's recognized.
Yes, I'm Robert Cameron, Precinct 34, and my question is for the chairman, since we now have voted an endorsement for some candidates, is the chairman going to present later in the meeting a proposal for us to approve some level of support, like Facebook ads or text messages, so that they would have some commitment now because the election is in November? So that's my question, sir. Thank you.
So the answer to your point of information is that is not on the agenda. I do believe that in new business we will be discussing potential package for the, or we can, I shouldn't say we will be. If someone wants to discuss potential, bring up in new business the potential package or support for endorsed candidates, we are free to take that up in new business. I don't have a package prepared today because we didn't have a report on the agenda or any endorsed candidates as of Saturday. So, but I'm sure we can come up with one, and Ivan Sifton, who unfortunately for personal reasons isn't able to join us tonight, has been communicating with me and others on his committee feverishly about working something out. So I think there'll be more information on that, Mr. Hanwright, in new business.
Thank you.
The next item on tonight's agenda is information regarding precinct chair filing. I'm going to ask Terry to come up in just a moment. I just want to let you know that I attached to the agenda, to the call, which included the agenda and the temporary committee's report, the proposed new precincts in Collin County. So I'm not going to go over it. It's there. Precincts are being split. Dozens of new precincts are being added. Some of you are filing in precincts. I think we respected the precincts of existing precinct chairs for the most part, but you need to study the new maps to make sure. First of all, my precinct is cut in half. I have a large precinct, 214. It was almost 5,000 voters. I'm still the precinct chair in that precinct, and I'm still in the right precinct, but there's another section that below me, like half of my precinct is cut off the whole southern side of my precinct. So even if I'm not staying precinct chair, obviously, if I run for county chair, but if I were to remain precinct chair, I would still be precinct chair of 214. It would just be in a very reduced size precinct, and a lot of you that had oversized precincts, just a heavy lift for precinct chairs with over 4,000 to 5,000 voters, are also getting some relief as well from new precincts and cut precincts. So please study that map. Terry's going to give you some information about filing as precinct chairs, but study that map, and if you have any questions, please direct it to myself, Terry, or Frank Deutschman about the precincts, new Collin County precincts going into effect in January of 2026. Thank you. For what purpose does the gentle lady rise?
Point of information.
State your point of information.
Lee Breckenridge Moore, precinct 247. I spoke with Chris Hill, and the final precinct redistricting maps will be voted on at the next Monday's Commissioner's Court.
I expected as much, and hopefully they will be as close to the ones we've already circulated as possible, but to the extent they are not, we will circulate final maps that are actually approved by the Commissioner's Court after the meeting. Thank you, Ms. Breckenridge Moore.
Yes, just a clarification. What you sent out was the breakout for what happens with the redistricting for the congressional redistricting.
Just the new ones, it was not the complete map.
And then there's the redistricting for just the precincts that are over 5,000. And so there's several of those that were not in that map. And so both of those together will be what it gets approved on the 22nd. Next Monday's 22nd. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to Terry to talk about precinct chair filing, both procedures and how to get this done properly if you want to get filed and run for precinct chair. Some of you may not, but for those of you who do enjoy these parties we have together and would like to continue them for the next 2 years, Terry will tell you how to do that.
All right, I think you can hear me. You don't need to see me, but all you need to do is hear me. All right. So, some of you filed your precinct chair applications on an old form. It's still good, so I sent you an email. If you've already filled that out, you're good to go. The new form, so if you have not filled out, even if you just got appointed tonight, I need a new precinct chair application for you. And what they've changed is they are now requiring you to put an email and a phone number. You cannot leave your occupation you can't leave it blank. It says voter ID optional. It's not optional. We still have to, on that corner, check that it's been verified. So before you come in, next meeting, if you haven't filed, I'm willing to take, but I will tell you this, if you leave anything blank, I'm going to hunt you down and say you need to fix this. I will fix you. So, for example, a lot of people are doing this. On the first line, application for county chairs, what you're writing, county chairs. You do not want Byron's job. You need to write precinct chair, not county chair, Byron.
I dare you.
So, just slow down. And today we had somebody notarize. There were a lot of you, I had to either text you or come and find you because you left, or I'm not going to throw him on the bus, but he did leave some things blank. But I appreciate him, that way it kind of helps you guys as well. I'm at GOP headquarters Monday through Friday. Please give me a call, because sometimes I have to go out for lunch. Call me if you're coming by, I'm notary, so I'll make sure it's all done. If you do get it notarized by somebody else, I'm still going to have to make sure that everything is filled in. Does that make sense? All right, so last day for you to file is December 8th. That's the last day that you can file for precinct chair. Where's the media people? Where's the communications? Raise your hand. Stand up if you're on the communications team. Stand up. I know I've got people on communications. We got 5 people. Where are they?
Denise.
Denise, your communications girl. Ken Cook, stand up. David Russell. Alright, so what we're going to need from you, I want to see in our newsletters and our call out on Facebook, everywhere you can, recruiting for precinct chairs. And my contact information will also in with judges and clerks. So we need to ramp it up. I want all these precincts filled. Again, even if you were just appointed tonight, you're still going to have to refile. Let's see, anything else that was important? No, I think that's it. Your June 15th when we all get sworn in for 26 through 28. So your term lasts for 2 years. If you don't have anybody filing an application, you're automatically in. You don't have to do SWAT. But if you have somebody, a challenger, it costs you $5 to know if you got a challenger. I will call and let you know, hey, you got something, you have to pick it up a notch. Only if you have someone in your precinct that's filing. Otherwise, you're not going to be on the ballot. So, has anybody been on the ballot before? Yes, Ken, you have, yes, several of you have. So make sure that if you have a challenger, that you get out there and get the vote out. All right, I think that's it. Just make sure, phone number, email, yes, Nancy.
Name and precinct, please.
Come to the microphone. Precinct 221. It does say.
Nancy, I'm sorry, I don't mean to complicate things, but so everyone can hear your question, could you come to a microphone and state your name and precinct, Chair? Thank you.
Nancy Robertson, precinct 221. It does say that the voter ID is optional, and you're saying it is not, so just clarify that.
So technically, it is not, it is optional, but I have to verify it when you bring me your application, and Byron has to check off that your VUID, your voter ID has been verified. So I don't know why I said that we had a Zoom meeting the other night. Why are you saying it's optional when it has to be verified? So I'm going to talk to them about that next go around that he writes. So I have to have a VUID number. If you do not know it, we've got GOP data center. You can pull it up. You can go to the Collin County elections, look up, put in your name, your age, and your birth, and pull up your voter ID number. So if you don't know how to do that, Collin County elections has everything that you need to know. Yes, sir.
Who can we work with to get GOP?
Name and precinct, please.
David, you know the rules.
Stand up, Mr. Montez.
Precinct 155. Terry, who do we work with to get GOP data center access for precinct chairs that have lost their access?
So you need to email me, say, Terry, I would like to get access, I'd like to get an account for GOP data center. If you've never had one, you've got to create one. They're not going to let you just go to the GOP data center and you know, I need this access, because a lot of people use it for campaigns and stuff. They have a charge on that. Send me an email, and there's a little Google Doc form in there, and I say, hey, Micah, please set up an account or renew this person's account. So I think I sent out everybody an email at one point that, hey, whenever, it's like every 2 years, so it expires after a certain amount of time. So if it expires, just email me and I'll get you hooked up. Come to the microphone, please, unless you can yell like me. All right, name and precinct.
Kathy Gill, precinct 61. If you don't know your voter ID and you don't want to get into the GOP data center, all you gotta do is go to the Collin County election site. In there you will find a place for voter registration. You click on that, and as long as you know your name and your birthday, it will pull up your voter ID card, and you will look magically at your voter ID.
Okay, didn't I just say that? I did say that. Thank you for repeating that. Didn't repeating. So, Collin County elections, go up there, voter registration, see if you're registered or not. All right, that's it, Byron. Oh, any more questions? All right.
That goes there, Terry.
Oh.
Thank you, Terry. It's important we get this right. I was signing my first acceptance, and I noticed a few names, and my pen was hovering over the rejected, and I couldn't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I did sign a few rejected first. You probably saw that. I had to make some corrections, so if anybody gets any static, I'm usually the one that proves it. But I apologize, but whenever I was signing, I was in the wrong blank, and I realized, oh, better put my glasses on. That's the wrong side to sign. So
You know what, the reason why I'm being so particular is because I don't want a rejected application to come back to Byron and myself. Then you have to reapply. So if I am persnickety, it's because I don't want to inconvenience you to have to reapply. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Terry. The next item on tonight's agenda is the new business. We have completed completed the business on the agenda for this evening, including a few additional items. And so now we have a little bit of opportunity to entertain some new business and discussion to the extent people want to bring it to the body's attention before we adjourn this evening. So with that, we will open up new business. Please state your name and precinct and the reason you rise.
Yep, Brian Long, precinct 125. I rise for a point of information asked about the candidate plan for endorsements.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Long. Mr. Canright raised this earlier, and although Mr. Sifton has things in his committee weighing on him, they managed to put together a proposed package, and although this time of new business is not a time for voting on things, in just a moment I'll ask the body if we can suspend the rules if the body is so inclined to vote on something for our endorsed candidates. But before we do that, I want to see if anybody else has any new business or anything they'd like to discuss that's not on the agenda, not set for a vote tonight, other than the candidate committee issue, which I'll bring up before we leave this evening.
Debbie Lynch, Precinct 209. I just wanted to let everybody know that there is a public logic and accuracy test for the machines for the November election on October 10th at 9 a.m. at the elections office on Redwood. So that is where we test our machines and also where the ballots, all the races are tested to make sure everybody is on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Any other new business that would like to be discussed? State your name and precinct, please.
Lee Breckenridge Moore, precinct 247. Mr. Chairman, I move to suspend the rules to allow for an immediate consideration of resolution denouncing CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations, defending the Constitution and demanding elected officials hold their constitutional oath. Pam Sardo is at an emergency meeting, or she dealing with some things in Josephine, or she will be here herself to do this. So I'm doing that for her. So, do I?
So
I'm making a motion to suspend the rules.
Just to be specific, there is a proposed resolution that I don't know has not been circulated to the body that I'm aware of, at least.
Yeah.
It has not been circulated to the body. It's not part of tonight's agenda. Is it short and sweet?
Short and sweet. It was passed by the RPT and the SRAC at their June meeting. And they have sent out a message asking all of the county executive parties to pass this. They've already had one county pass it. Russ County has already passed this. Since Collin County is ground zero for this,
Please cease distributing the proposed resolution until we've just had a vote on whether or not to suspend the rules to consider it. Thank you. So where we are in the process is, as everyone knows, the rules we passed last June, all resolutions need to be submitted to the Rules Committee pursuant to the schedule that's set forth in the rules, considered by the Rules Committee, passed, and then submitted to the body with the call, so that everyone has a chance to review the resolutions, make amendments if they want to make amendments, consider them, and vote on them in due course. With respect to resolutions, suspension of the rules is in order, though extraordinary, to circumvent the rules that the body's put in place, but is allowed to consider resolutions if the body so desires. According to Ms. Breckenridge Moore, this resolution is a verbatim, word-for-word resolution that has already been considered and passed by the Republican Party of Texas. Most of them that we have here are not. So with that information, Ms. Breckenridge Moore has made a motion to suspend the rules so that the body can consider and debate this resolution in new business, which I don't know if we need two motions to suspend the rules. Hold on just one moment.
can I add one point of information also?
parliamentarians advise that first we need to do a motion to suspend the rules to consider something for voting on it all in new business. So first, I'll have to have a motion to suspend the rule that we don't vote on things during new business. And I want to caution people that the new business item is on this agenda to talk about items that are important to the party and not to vote on things. That's why I put it there. That's why I do the agenda in a way that we have time to consider it. That does not mean I'm opposed to this resolution. I am not putting my fingers on the scale of this resolution. Everybody vote their conscience, but I am not, we will not have 30 minutes for new business if we are going to suspend rules and vote on things that don't go through the process just to vote on things in new business. We just won't have it. We've never had it before, and like some people with nice things, we do not need to abuse the ability of us just to discuss freely items that are important to us and sort of forcing a vote on the issue. That said, a vote to suspend the rules to consider something for a vote in new business is appropriate. So I take Ms. Lee Breckenridge-Moore, I'm going to construe her motion as an initial motion to suspend the rules and allow us to consider something for voting on in new business. Is there a second to suspend the rules for that purpose?
Can I have one thing for?
Is it to amend your motion?
No, it's
Okay.
just to add additional comments.
Oh, you can say the additional comments for debate. Please. Is there a second for Ms. Breckenridge-Moore's motion to suspend the rules so that we can consider a motion for voting on during new business?
And for precinct 219, a second.
There is a motion and a second to suspend the rules so that we can consider a measure to be voted upon by the body in new business. This is a debatable motion. It's not debatable, I apologize. Getting ahead of myself. It's not debatable. So with that, I'm going to call for the yeas and nays on whether or not we should suspend the rules to consider an item for voting on by the Rules Committee during new business. All in favor of suspending the rules and considering an item for voting purposes in new business, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. This requires a 2/3 vote of the majority in order to pass. In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it, and therefore we will not suspend the rules to consider an item for voting on during new business. For what purpose does the gentleman rise?
Point of information.
State your point of information.
YSE.
Name and precinct, please.
Stephen Callis, 102, speaking as the chairman of the Rules Committee. I'm wondering if it might be appropriate to have an emergency meeting with the Rules Committee to consider this so that we can run it through as a resolution so we can cover that hurdle ahead of time so that it would be the consideration for the next meeting at the very least. Or if it's already an issue, tonight it's moved.
The Rules Committee's chair, the chair of the Rules Committee is free to call a special meeting at his pleasure and without objection, with very little, if any, notice, if there's no objection from members, to have a special meeting to pass resolutions or other rules in the committee pursuant to the current rules and Robert's rules. So there's no impediment to the Rules Committee calling a special meeting to accomplish the purpose that you just stated, that the chair is aware of.
Do I have a quorum present? If you're on Rules Committee, would you please stand?
Well, I would say that your point of information and your proposed meeting is moot because the body has already voted that we're not going to take up a matter. We're not going to take up a matter in new business for a vote. For what purpose does the gentlelady rise?
I just want to say thank you for considering it. I definitely had a lot of thought put into that before because I asked Pam if she was absolutely sure, and based on the fact that Abbott was in town signing a bill that Representative Noble put into place that's on the same type of subject, that kind of the iron is hot, and wanted to strike that to try to get support of that and have Collin County be the leader in that. But I would like, as Stephen said, to ask that it be put at the head of the Rules Committee. To have
Yell like you yell at me, Lee.
I'm sorry, I don't yell at you. Anyway, so I would like to just ask, given that it's time sensitive, if it could be put in front of the Rules Committee for the next meeting, and have that passed so that we can get to it first.
So, having been a rules chair, and my understanding, just to answer that, is that you submit the resolution according to the rules prior to the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee chairman will put it on the agenda, and absent a vote in the Rules Committee to table it or otherwise take it off the agenda and not act on it, the Rules Committee will consider it in due course and present it to the body. I know Governor Abbott has already signed that bill. I'm personally, just as a matter of personal privilege, I am personally fond of and support the resolution that's being presented by Ms. Sardo, and by waiting until the Rules Committee meeting meets and the next meeting, she will be able hopefully to present it herself, since it's very important to her. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Breckenridge. More than thank Ms. Sardo as well for her time on this issue. Is there any other new business that the body would like to take up before we move to an item with respect to the Get Out the Vote Committee and the candidate endorsements? Seeing none, I was presented with a proposed plan by the Get Out the Vote Committee, which is doing chairman's work because the rules require me to present a plan, which I couldn't have presented because I didn't know we had endorsements, but now I know. And so the committee has put forth the following plan, most of which does not require the body's approval, though I would like the body to affirm that they are in favor of the plan, including any monetary amounts that may be included in the plan. So I'm going to sketch out a summary of the proposal on behalf of the Get Out the Vote Committee, not on my own behalf, though I agree with it. I'm going to sketch out the proposed package of support that the Get Out the Vote Committee proposes from its chairman, Mr. Sifton, that we provide to the candidates that were endorsed tonight. The first of which is communications and outreach, email campaigns, 4 separate ones, including 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and the weekend before early voting, and then an election, the day before election day, don't forget to vote. Press release from the party, placed on the website and all of our social media platforms. They would also like ground operations to be authorized, which I don't think requires approval by the body, but I want the body to be on the same mind on this. Block walking, October 18th, the weekend before early voting, as well as November 1st, the final push before election day. Poll breeding organization, campaign material distribution, candidate support and data, voter list and data, and performance analytics with respect to voter data in the jurisdictions of Josephine and Princeton ISD. Lastly, the committee has asked that we fund the production of city-specific flyers for Princeton and Josephine, highlighting only our endorsed candidates in each community. The proposal is for approximately 3,000 flyers for Princeton and 1,000 flyers for Josephine. The projected cost by the committee is $950 to $1,300 on the fiscal note. And so the body is, the Get Out the Vote Committee is asking this body to approve this plan of support, including authorization of a budgetary item to spend up to $1,300 to support the endorsed candidates in Princeton and the city of Josephine. I consider the chairman's report that I'm delivering on his behalf as a motion, which does not require a second. The first thing we need to do is ask whether or not the body is willing to suspend the rules in order to pass this proposal. So I will ask for a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, can I ask for a point of clarity?
Point of information, you sure may.
Yeah, these two school board seats and what is it, 3 town council seats in Josephine?
That's correct.
If we win these seats, will we have a majority?
Yes.
I don't have the direct answer to that question, but I hear from the body that the answer is yes.
Thank you.
Representative Joy, Precinct 77, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Is it not the case that the rules require us to consider the proposal at the same meeting that the endorsement is adopted?
The rules may require that. Unfortunately, it's not on the agenda, and there was no candidate committee report circulated to the body to be placed on the agenda. So the rules, you have 2 rules, but technically there was no candidate committee report on the agenda, so we amended the agenda to allow a candidate committee report for endorsement as opposed to an update. We would have had to have taken up that matter in regular business, amended the agenda, and taken it up during regular business and not new business.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, the rule about that is correct, that the candidate support must be, whereas I think you're talking about a rule order or something like a parliamentary, whereas this is actually a bit rule that would take precedence over that.
Hold on just a moment, Mr. Joy.
Suspend the rules so you can consider.
Written rules.
Could you approach the chair? While we're checking on the rule, I just want to get a sense of the body, whether or not the body is of the opinion that you would like to suspend the rule to consider the package of support in general. So if you would generally support that while we're seeing whether we're allowed to do it with or without a suspension of the rules, would you just please indicate by raising your hand? Looks like there's adequate support to suspend the rules for this purpose, so while they're looking for the rule, which may require us to do it anyway, even in new business.
Okay, sure.
I think Mr. Joy has a solution to the problem.
All right. So I will go ahead and make a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of this candidate support proposal.
Okay, there's a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Dr. Cypress, for 3 seconds.
Madam Secretary? Barely. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of suspending the rules in order to consider the candidate support package that has been previously mentioned, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. In the opinion of the chair, therefore, we will consider the package that I've previously mentioned. The main item on this list that requires body approval as opposed to affirmation is the authorization for a budgetary item with a fiscal note of up to $1,300 for flyers. I will note we do not have our treasurer here today, but I have recently reviewed the accounts of the party, and I can tell the party and the body that we have adequate funds to support a budget, a fiscal hit of $1,300 to support these candidates if the body so chooses. For what purpose does the general person rise?
I'd like to offer a friendly amendment on this, Dave Leaf 119. Specifically, if the financial rewards that they seek be tabled for a future, we have time to look at the candidates and just do like web pages. In other words, everything that doesn't cost money. But look at that one separately and get that done because we're on time. And then the financial one, we can take that later.
So I think that's a motion to separate the items.
Separate the financial aspect of it from just the website, stuff that doesn't cost the city $100.
So that motion is in order, and there's a motion to separate the items into separate votes on the non-financial aspects of the support package and the financial aspects of the support package. Is there a second? Not hearing a second, the motion fails.
Dr. Cypress, for 3, I'm going to call a question. Let's vote.
So there's a motion to call the previous question. Is there a second?
Stephanie Razor, Precinct 29, second.
This is a non-debatable motion, so I will call for the ayes and nays. All those in favor of calling the question and voting on the candidate support package say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. So now we'll proceed to a vote on the candidate support package, which includes the items that I previously mentioned, including a budgetary item which authorizes the party to spend up to, at this point, $1,300 to support the candidates endorsed by the party for Josephine and Princeton. All in favor of voting in support of the proposed package, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. So the Collin County Republican Party, please get out the vote committee, communications committee, and other committees and teams will provide the support directed by the body and voted on by the body tonight. Is there any other business to come before the party this evening?
Dr. Cypress, Precinct 43, I'm going to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn on the table. Is there a second?
Precinct 155,
Motion for adjourn has been seconded. Thank you for coming tonight. And this motion is here. Oh, one last thing. There's a sign-up sheet, a makeshift sign-up sheet for election workers, judges, and alternates. Rosemary has it over there. Name, email, and phone number for volunteers for election workers. And come to our meeting next week. The meeting is adjourned.